Hey, this is Shane with the Social Freedom Tribe. I'm coming at you today with a video on 5 intentions that lead to a great night out. The reason I'm making this video is because 7 years ago, when I turned 21 and I started going out to bars, highly socially anxious, I would walk up to strangers, start conversations, and I learned that when I come in with a plan, there's all this chaos happening that just destroys the plan. I would get mean reactions. I would just go and not be able to understand the chaos. The chaos would just be way too much for me. And I started thinking, what would it be like to not only be used to this environment, but to thrive in it? And then over the 7 years that I went out, I started going out 6 or 7 nights a week, and then I lowered that to about 4 nights a week on average. And 7 years later, I've found many intentions to hold while going out that just lead to a better night. I want to share my 5 best ones. So the first one is find the fun. Now in this intention, I notice that there's people, myself included, that like to do things and just work really hard and stress themselves out and hustle, you know? You don't need sleep, just 3 hours a night of sleep and hustle hard. And holding an intention of hustling while going out or working hard, making it stressful, it's a great intention in theory, but what it ends up leading to is less flow state, less of getting into this flow state where you're able to take on more and you're able to do crazy things and really enjoy your time and have people enjoy you and get better responses on average. It's hustling, and the stressed out kind of intention is just leading to burnout. I'm not able to do as much. What I notice in others that they're not able to do as much work. They're not able to approach as many people. They're not able to loosen up enough to just feel good, and they get burnt out really quickly. Whereas with an intention of finding the fun, what I notice is that when something feels too scary to me, then I let go of focusing on that thing and I look for something that I can do in that moment, and something that would be fun in that moment, and I would go do that and would end up getting into a flow state. If dancing is fun for me in that moment, I would dance and it would feel good and I would just feel so much better than I was before. Then I'll find the next thing that gets me into a fun mood, and it will keep going and going, and then I'm just really in a good mood. I'm able to do so much. It usually leads to a better night. And my responses are better because I'm feeling good in my body, and people aren't there to work. All the people that we're talking to or the people that are surrounding us are there to let loose. They work in their normal lives, and now they just want to let loose. They want to drink. They want to get crazy. I don't drink when I go out. I would recommend trying to not drink and stay sober, but it's up to you. And because I found that I'm able to have fun and find the fun while sober a lot easier than while drunk, because drunk is just kind of a way of me getting some kind of beverage in me, and I'm only having fun because I bought a beverage, rather than I'm specifically looking for things that would get me into a fun flow state. That's the first intention, is finds the fun. Rather than going into a hustle mindset, it's a find the fun mindset. If something isn't fun, I look for something that's fun. Or if I'm talking to somebody I'm not having fun, I can flip the conversation into a way that would be more fun, rather than just asking questions that I think I have to ask, like, where do you work? How's the weather today? Or, where are you from? Where do you live? Great. Rather than those questions, I can go into some kind of improv thing, make up some kind of improv character, and then just go with that. I'm Manny the Martian. What's up? I came from Pluto a year ago, and I can just roll with that. Or whatever is just fun in that moment. If that's not fun, then I would let go of it. But when I do those things, conversations end up being more fun. I end up laughing more. And I also find it a lot easier to approach when I know that I'm in a good flow state, that's a good fun state, and people are going to enjoy talking to me. So I just find that the night goes better in just many ways. I'm able to talk to more people. I don't get burnt out. I get better responses from people, and I'm also just way more resilient. Meaning that when something happens to me, like a rejection or a negative response, or somebody insults me, I'm able to bounce back a lot faster because of my fun flow state kind of mode where I'm finding the fun. Those things just don't even matter. I don't need things from outside of myself to make me happy, like drinks or compliments or whatever it is. I don't need things from outside of myself to make myself happy because I'm able to find the fun and create happiness within myself and create enjoyment within myself. I like the book Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, which it separates happiness into two different categories. One is pleasure, which is this dopamine kind of thing from things that you get, sugar, stimulation, whatever it is. And there's enjoyment, which is coming from within, where we can take a task and we can enjoy it. Drumming, music, piano, rapping. I'm saying all musical things. I'll try to come up with other ones. Writing, reading, journaling, conversations. There's ways that we can turn things into things that we find enjoyable and fun if we have this intention of making it fun, finding the fun. That's the first intention, is find the fun. Second intention, I'm looking at my notes, which are down here, it's all an experiment. So rather than doing something saying, I want to do this so that it works and I get a good response, having that intention leads to a lot of things where we get negative responses, and it leads to, in my case, less resilience. And if I had this intention of it's all an experiment, then whether I get a negative or positive response, it just leads to data for the experiment. It's not something where I failed. Oh, I'm a failure. It's just something more that's just like, I did an experiment and this was the outcome. And that doesn't actually mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm bad at socializing. It doesn't mean that that person doesn't like me. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that in this experiment, here was the data. And looking at it through this kind of frame of mind has really helped me, because when I see it as an experiment, first of all, I'm able to do things that don't feel like are me. I'm able to experiment with being loud when I felt like what was me was being soft and being nice. I could experiment with being loud, being direct, even though that didn't feel like me. And then once I started practicing those things, because it was all an experiment, then I got negative, positive responses that went either way. I absorbed that as just data. Then I had a large amount of data in my memory banks to pull from, and then my intuition just took that stuff, and then suddenly I can be loud and direct and assertive, and my intuition is kind of taking it on for me and helping me know when the right times to be that way are. Because when I'm being assertive at all times and just seeing it as an experiment, and sometimes I get a negative response and sometimes I get a positive response, when I do that enough times through that experimenting mindset, then what ends up happening is that I can see patterns. Why was it bad to, or am I generally getting negative responses when I be assertive in these moments and not in these moments? And when I have a large pool of experiments that I've done in this area, then I start recognizing patterns. I started noticing that, oh, when I was assertive in those moments, it was actually because I was doing it for somebody else, or I felt that my assertive directness would actually improve the group. And when I generally got negative responses, it's when I was assertive because I wanted to be assertive and I wanted to show people how assertive I could be, and it was just coming from a different place. And then through all these patterns, I start growing as a person. And that wouldn't happen if I was just trying to, every time I talk to somebody, I didn't see it as an experiment. I saw it more as, oh, I need this for this to go well. So this is the second intention, which is, it's all an experiment. These are also could be seen as frames of mind. So the first one was find the fun. Second one, it's all an experiment. The third one is adjust the challenge level. Now, I like to do these hand motions a lot. Maybe you've seen in my videos, if you've seen my other videos. But imagine that this is how much you're pushing yourself. You're not pushing yourself at all. You're pushing yourself to the extreme. There's this range that you can find that just feels exactly at your edge, as the authentic relating community likes to say. And over this range is overwhelm. It feels overwhelming, where we burn ourselves out a lot easier, or we just stay in this freezed, socially anxious mindset and we're not able to do anything. And under here is disengaged, where it's just so easy that it's just boring. I don't see the point in this. We're just really disengaged. But there's this exact kind of range that feels really good because we're able to do it, but it's not too much. But it's not too little either. And what I found is, I found that a lot of people want to be up here. They want to be able to do something that they're not able to do in that moment. And they're just really socially anxious. Maybe they focus on, they see somebody that they want to walk up to and say hi to, but they can't in that moment because they're too socially anxious. Then they end up burning themselves out. They keep focusing on something that they can't really do in that moment. And they're trying to challenge themselves way higher than their range, and they end up just focusing on something that burns them out, and they're not able to do it. I should say I statements. That's what happens to me, is that I see somebody that I want to approach, and I'm not able to approach because my social anxiety is just not allowing me to, and I start focusing on what I'm not able to do because it's too far outside of my challenge level that challenge range that gets me into a flow state. I'm just focusing on something that I can't do in that moment, and I just burn out. Meanwhile, there are things that are actually within that range that I'm not seeing because I'm focusing over here. And there are things, maybe I can go onto the dance floor and I can dance. And that feels within the range because people are looking at me, and I can dance very little because I'm afraid of people seeing me. And then maybe in my experience, when I notice that when I stay in this range, I start getting into a flow state, and the range gets higher and higher and higher, and I'm able to push myself more. So when I find that going to the dance floor with people looking at me and I'm dancing is within that range, then if I just stay in there, I notice that I could push myself a bit more, I could dance a bit more, I could dance a bit more, I can get crazier, and then suddenly everybody's looking at me and I'm going wild because my range is up here. And then what I couldn't do before, I can easily do. I'm not even thinking, and I'm just going right up to those people, talking to other people, and I'm bam, 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 bam. So what I always try to do is, if I feel something is too disengaging, then I push myself further, say what's even harder, what's within that range, and I adjust the challenge level to be harder, so that I'm in that range rather than being disengaged. And then what is easier if I'm like in overwhelm and something I'm focusing on I'm not able to do in that moment. I adjust the challenge level to be right within that range. And this combining this with finding the fun, it goes hand in hand because it's finding something that's both fun and enjoyable, which is a key to getting into flow state, and then also finding something that's within that range. When we do both of those things, we can get into a flow state. Flow state meaning this state where our judgmental selves completely turn off, and then we're just able to do anything. We're not even thinking. We're in the complete present moment, and just incredible things start happening. It's pretty trippy in my opinion. So that's the third, is adjust the challenge level. So far we've done find the fun, it's all an experiment, and then adjust the challenge level. With these three, what I notice when I combine them, I start getting into this really flow state tinkering mode. I'm reading a book right now, Tinker Dabble Doodle Try by Srini Pillay. And it's, rather than just going into a mindset of focused hard work, it's a letting go, unfocused tinkering dabbling with something and just seeing what happens, doing slight adjustments constantly. So this is ways that we can have intentions throughout the night where we're playing for the long term, especially if we're going out from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's 4 hours, and rather than burning ourselves out in the first hour, we're just doing things that kind of go towards the fourth hour. And what I mean by that is just tinkering around with our time while out, having fun, learning things, getting ourselves into a good state, and just slowly adjusting the challenge level, adjusting to find things more fun and enjoyable, and that way we don't get burnt out by the fourth hour and we get into a crazy flow state, whereas other people that were needing alcohol are now hammered and out of their mind, and other people that were hustle mindset are now burnt out. All the people that were trying to make every interaction good are now also burnt out. And I've noticed that these three frames of mind or intentions, when I hold those three, then I get into an incredible flow state, and I don't burn out by the fourth hour. So the fourth one is lower the bar of success. This kind of seems like the last one, adjust the challenge level, except it's more with our own judgmentality of what makes a success. So this kind of goes along with, it's an experiment too, because with it's all an experiment, we're going from this whole need for a certain positive outcome to just seeing it as an experiment. And this one is lowering the bar of success to basically, rather than success is if I get a certain outcome, or success is if I'm able to do this crazy thing, we see success as something simple. I went out, that's a success. I did one approach, that's a success. I talk to one person, success. This might seem counterintuitive if we have some kind of, but I had this really huge, lofty goal that I want to do. But what ends up happening, or what I found to end up happening, is that when I really lower my bar of success is if I just go out. Success if I just say hi. I'm able to do those things, and everything else is a bonus. And I feel so good for accomplishing one small thing, one small task, that I just start accomplishing so many other ones. And what I notice is that if I have a really lofty goal, it's only success if I do 50, I talk to 50 people, and I start a whole dance mob on the dance floor when nobody's dancing, and if I stay out for 4 nights in a row, and if I do those things, then I start going towards those goals as I am not a success yet. I see myself as not a success yet. I see myself almost as a failure, and I just feel terrible about myself. But if I just set the bar really low for success, I end up accomplishing it pretty fast, and I just feel really good about myself. And I feel so good that this dopamine kind of stuff releases in my brain, and I start wanting to accomplish way more because it feels so good, and I feel really good about myself. I have high self-esteem just because I set the bar way lower for success. And so I noticed that for myself, this intention really helps me get an amazing night out. And so the last one is adapt. And so when I say adapt, what I mean is to accept and then choose. So when something chaotic happens, we come in with a plan. Let's say that I was going to tell a story to somebody. Halfway through the story, somebody comes in, interrupts the story, and now the conversation seems away from the story and more towards this new person. Who is this person? And so if I'm not accepting that that just happened, and I'm still saying, why did this person have to come in? I want to tell the story. But I had this story. Like, weren't you listening? Like, I'm not in acceptance of what just interrupted my story yet, and I'm not able to adapt. To adapt to me is to, right when the story gets interrupted by some random person, then the speed that I can accept that that just happened and say, story was interrupted, this person is now here, I wanted to tell the story, and now it was interrupted, I accept that that's happened, moving on. Then I'm able to go in the second phase, which is choose. So from this place of, I just got interrupted, and my story got interrupted, I can now choose what to do now that I'm in acceptance of what the reality is. If I'm not in acceptance, I can't choose because I can't choose an action to take because it hasn't fully landed that that story was interrupted. I'm still in like, why can't the story just not get interrupted? Why can't it be this other reality? Why does this have to be the reality? And I'm not able to choose an action to go from there. So if I'm able to quickly accept that that happened, then I'm able to choose what to do next. So when I keep this frame of mind, just constantly trying to adapt to the situation, letting go of the story, letting go of whatever story I was trying to tell, accepting that there's this new person here, say, what do I want to do from here? Now that this has happened, now the story's gotten interrupted, I want to find out who this person is. I want to try to bring it back to my story, which is also a choice that you can make. I'm not saying that we have to let go of the story and never tell it. I'm just saying that it's better, in my opinion, to accept that that's happened, that this is the reality of the situation, and then choose from there. If you choose to keep telling the story, that's a choice. But if it comes from a place of acceptance of the reality, then it's way better, in my opinion, than not accepting that this has happened, and then trying to continue the story because I'm in reaction to whatever happened, and I want to, no, go back to the story. There's also another way of saying that somebody in Real Social Dynamics made, and it's called "Be the cause, not the effect." So there's a guy, RSD Tyler, who I've followed for many years, and he says, "Be the cause, not the effect." And the effect to me is reactivity. I'm not accepting that this has just happened and I'm reacting to it. No, let's go back to the story. No, let's go back to the story. Kind of like this shaky, kind of tight energy. And being the cause is, I'm going to go this way. And other people are most likely going to be responding to that rather than you responding or reacting. There's another book called I forget the name. It's by Bob Berg, and it's something, Adversaries into Allies, that's what it was, by Bob Berg. And what he likes to say is respond and not react. Reacting is where we're not choosing to do something, we're just in some kind of emotion and we're losing ourselves to something, reacting, maybe we're reacting with anger. Why'd you have to come in? It's not something that we're choosing to do because we feel like it's the best choice. It's just because we've lost ourselves to the emotions and then we're choosing from there. And responding is very different. We're calm, accepted that just this happened. I'm going to choose to keep doing my story, which is different than, keep doing the story. It's just relaxed. I accept this has happened. I'm going to choose to keep doing the story. It comes from a completely different place, but it's the same action. And what I've noticed with this intention, that I'm able to be a lot more fluid to the chaos. And because that's what I love about bars, and that's what I love about getting used to bars. There's just so much chaos, so much drinking and dancing and all these things and people letting loose. And if I am going in with some kind of plan, and I can't accept when the plan diverges, then I'm going to be lost to all of this chaos. I'm going to lose to it, and I'm not going to be able to adapt and be fluid and flexible to the environment. So this intention and this frame of mind is just really prioritizing adapting to the environment and responding in a very fluid, calm manner. I'm choosing what to do from here. It's not being chosen for me. I'm not reacting, I'm responding. And so with these 5 intentions, find the fun. It's all an experiment. Adjust the challenge level, lower the bar of success, and adapt, or be the cause, not the effect. Then I noticed that I just have a really great night out. I have other ones, but these 5 are my absolute favorite. I hope you really enjoyed them, and I'm out. Have fun. Love you guys. Peace.